Yo, what's going on, man? Today is October the 19th, 2023. It's your boy Chris, and this is yet another edition of the NBA team previews where we talk about win totals live on YouTube and on Twitter. You guys tap in, check in with me. Appreciate everybody for joining the show. Be sure to hit the like button for me, subscribe to the show, turn the notification bell on so you guys know when I go live as well. Today, we don't have two of the more exciting teams, so I don't expect a lot of people to show up, but I'm going to do my due diligence and, bring you guys what I have on these teams that aren't expected to do well. It's still going to be ways to kind of back some of these teams that, are looked at as are bad teams or teams that are going to be bad specifically anyway. So we're going to jump right into it. Won't be a long show, but we will be discussing the win total for the Orlando Magic. Well, we'll be discussing everything about the Orlando Magic and the Portland Trailblazers today. So like I said, hit the like button for me if you guys can. I appreciate everybody for joining. My guy Sam in the chat on YouTube, Prolific said, we hear my boy. And again, missed the Spurs play, but sure there would be more definitely. Shout out to the Frenchman Wembanyama. Yeah, we cashed on the Spurs last night. Spurs first half was a pretty easy one. I think they were like a -2.5 is what I gave out, and I think they ended up winning by double digits in the first half. So shout out to everyone who tailed that one, got that one in. I only gave that one out to the members. And speaking of the members, shout out to my guy Zay, man. Appreciate you for becoming a member, Zay. Hopefully we run it up, man. That's gonna be the goal. It's always the goal is to try to be profitable, only give out really good bets, and to make some money. So let's jump right into it with no further ado, man. I do want to take a quick second and just shout out the guys at OddsJam, the software that I'm using to find all my lines immediately. I actually just gave out a line when I saw some breaking news come through, jumped on the OddsJam screen, found what the best line was, where the best line was, and got a half a point of value. So we'll see if that comes into play or not. But that's what OddsJam is for, man. The sportsbook screen page has all the odds on all the props that are in your local state, so you don't have to be looking at sports books that aren't applicable to where you're able to bet. And in Virginia, I got access to like 15 or 16 different sports books, and I use them all. I give out plays to them all because I'm always trying to find the best number. So that's what I use OddsJam for. We recommend everybody kind of try it out for long-term success for sure, because you want to get the best of the number every single time. Don't overpay, especially on these -115, -125 type bets. 25% off your first month with code CBC. And with no further ado, let's jump right into it, man. Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic this season are predicted to be a little bit better than they were last year. You look at the odds. If you're watching on YouTube, you see those odds posted there. To reach the playoffs, they're a +190. To win the Southeast Division, they're a +1,000. So the odds of them winning that division is probably slim to none. For people who don't know, that Southeast Division does have the Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte Hornets, Miami Heat, and the Washington Wizards. So it's going to be difficult for them to be better than any of those teams, in my estimation. Orlando Magic, being better than the Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat, probably not likely. I think Charlotte also plays a little bit better this year. Not high on Washington as a team, but definitely on some of their players. So to win it, like I said, to win division +1,000, don't really need to get into the odds for them to win the East at +15,000 and to win the title at +50,000. That's just probably not going to happen, unless something happens, something drastically happens, like a trade or something happens. And that's what Orlando kind of perfect segue into, kind of looking at this team. Orlando is a team that has built themselves around the draft. I think I got something in my notes that said that they drafted they drafted Anthony Black and they drafted Jet Howard, and now that makes 7 first-round picks on this team. So I know I typically do additions first, and I guess I am doing additions because when you think about the guys that they drafted, Anthony Black is solid. He's a slashing guard, pretty athletic. He's going to be trying to put a lot of pressure on the rim. That's out of Arkansas, head full of hair, light-skinned kid. I think I'm not sure what that. Whether he's going to crack the rotation for Coach Vaughn or not. But I will say that, there's potential. There's definitely potential. To me, the Orlando Magic have too many guards at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see who they keep if anybody gets traded before the deadline, because you also draft Jet Howard as well. So they took Jet Howard, who is the son of Juwan Howard, for the people who remember Juwan Howard when he was at Michigan as a part of the Fab Five with Jalen Rose and the rest of that crew. You took Jet Howard with the 11th overall pick. Jet Howard is somebody I'm pretty high on. This dude can flat out score the ball. He averaged 14 points last year playing for his dad at Michigan. He shot 37% from the three-point line as well. He also is super athletic. I think people kind of sleep on his athleticism because he does shoot the ball so well, but he has some pretty good athleticism. He'll get to the rim. He got a nice little Euro step he likes to use. I went back and kind of studied his game. I didn't watch him a lot at Michigan, but I did went back and kind of studied his game. I think there's going to be minutes for him. Orlando didn't shoot the ball well from three last year. Outside of Franz Wagner, this team wasn't one of the better teams as far as three-point percentage. And I don't have that number right in front of me, but I'm pretty sure I can find it really quickly. I'm just interested to see what they did shoot last year, because I feel like that was one of their struggles, is that they didn't shoot the ball well. Offensive efficiency wise, Orlando finished 26, which is the 5th worst in the league, and that was a big part of their problem. Is that they first of all, they started off the season so slow. This team started out extremely slow out the gate. They just kind of recapping. One of the youngest teams in the NBA. They started the season though just 5-20 through the first 25 games. But they progressed well, 29-28 throughout the last 57 games of the season. So that worked out well for them. You also see Paolo Banchero take home the Rookie of the Year award. He did average 20-7 in his first season in the league. And then Franz Wagner, I kind of mentioned his name earlier, but Franz was probably their best offensive player. He averaged 19 points. And shot 46.5%, 36% from the three-point line. So I think he continues to, play well and probably takes a step up. And then you just continue the development part, man. That's what they did. They didn't really go out and draft a lot of didn't go out in free agency and really, try to lure anybody there. They did bring over Joe Ingles, who's like 120 years old. They probably just use him for, to bring a veteran leadership to the team, because they don't have like a lot of OGs on this team. And as far as subtractions, we saw Bol go to Phoenix, and that's fine because they got plenty of depth, in my estimation, in that front court. When you think about Wendell Carter Jr., you also get Jonathan Isaac back, who I'm pretty high on Jonathan Isaac. I think Jonathan Isaac, who's missed a lot of time over the last couple of years, and honestly, the entirety of his career. When you think about going back to the bubble, I think it was when he got hurt. I like Jonathan Isaac. He's not going to wow you with his numbers, but he's a defensive guy, 6'10", Florida State guy that can, rebound the ball, that's going to alter shots, can dunk on you as well. I like Jonathan Isaac and what he can bring to the table. So I say all that to say that you don't really need not anything wrong with Bol, but they got a lot of depth in their front court. So that's kind of a recap for them last year. They also, just going back to last year, they went 34-48 was their record. They actually had the 3rd worst record in the Eastern Conference. They finished 13th. Against the spread, though, this was a team that actually made some money, and I think will continue to be able to make some money with them this year. 45, 33, and 2. So 58%. If you win 58% of your bets on a -110 line, you're a profitable gambler. So betting Orlando on the spread last year was a profitable bet. As a home dog, I digged a little deeper. As a home dog, this team was actually 16-8-1. So that's 66.7%. You're actually doing really, really well if you're hitting 66% of your bets. So a lot of the teams, and just something to kind of jot down, kind of keep in your memory bank, a lot of these teams that struggle going to get their best effort when they're at home. And you want to look at them at home as a dog, of course, playing against playing against an upper echelon team that everybody else is going to want to come to see, especially when they're coming to Orlando. So I know that this team beat Golden State last year. They beat Golden State the year before. Golden State always struggles against this team. So those are the games that you really want to back them against. The Western Conference teams that are really, really good, they're going to overlook this Orlando team. It's a non-conference game, especially if Orlando is the more rested team. Those are the spots you want to back, and that's why it's proved profitable. In those 25 games last year that they were a home dog, they actually won 13 of them outright. 13-12 was their record straight up in those games. 16 wins as a home dog was actually the second most of any team, and it was the best overall record. The 16-8-1 was the best overall record for any team that actually played more than 20 games as a home dog last year. So probably going to be another good spot to back them this year, especially when you think about Paolo playing FIBA basketball with US, being around, all of the different guys that are just going to help him elevate his game and take his game to the next level. I like that. I think he's going to come into the season in shape, and he has this really, this pure energy about him to kind of, he's very confident. I listen to his interviews, but he projects himself as a guy that works hard, and I think that he does. So I like that for Paolo. I like Franz Wagner as well. We know what Wendell Carter Jr. does, and they got a lot of guards. So I think in the right spot, of course, we're gonna make some money with Orlando this year. And the addition, like I talked about, you get Anthony Black, the slashing guard that I kind of talked about out of Arkansas, and Anthony Black and Jet Howard, both young guys that are probably going to continue to develop for this team. Projected win total, 37.5. So the books actually think that the Orlando Magic, just like I do, that they probably are going to do a little bit better than they did before. 37.5, it kind of feels appropriate because they did bump the number up. If this number was 35.5, I think I'd be on the over. Do I think that they could win 38, 39, 40 games? Absolutely do. I talked about this before, but it feels to me like a lot of the Eastern Conference, outside of the top-heavy portion of the Eastern Conference, didn't get a lot better. Milwaukee, absolutely, I think that you could say that they did. Boston, I think you could absolutely say that they did. But who after that? Like Philly didn't get any better than me. I do think that Cleveland got better. But I'm not really sold on a lot of these teams in the Eastern Conference specifically, making a lot of drastic improvements last year. I'm going back real quick, and I'm gonna let you guys know why I'm saying that. Miami didn't get any better in my estimation. Chicago, I told you guys I was pretty low on them. Toronto might just blow up. And the Wizards lost all three of they lost two of their two primary scorers as well. Detroit, I think, is going to be a little bit better. And I think Orlando is going to be another team that's a little bit better than they were last year. Because I think, like I said, a lot of the talent is out west. In the Eastern Conference, especially the bottom, I think it's going to be a little bit better. I don't think Detroit, Charlotte, and Orlando finished with the worst three records in the NBA in the Eastern Conference last year. And I don't think it's going to be in that order. And I think at least two of those guys won't finish in the bottom three. So those are my thoughts on Orlando Magic. If I'm playing the win total, I am probably looking towards the over. To me, this team feels like they could potentially, if they can put it all together, let's just say this: if they're at the highest of high, I think they could potentially win. Make it to the play-in tournament. You can get them to make the playoffs at plus 190 right now as well. Last year, the Toronto Raptors were the last team in the play-in tournament. They ended up losing, of course, but they were the last team in the play-in tournament at 41 wins. So you're looking at Orlando needing to win about 7 or 8 more games, which is over that team total. Those are my thoughts on Orlando Magic. I went a lot longer than I thought I was going to. That's like 10 minutes. Brian in the chat says, "What's up, Chris? We're going to run it up this season." Absolutely. That's always the goal. Sam says, "Great content and channel, Chris." I agree with a good portion of the chat. We're going to run it up this year. Absolutely, Sam. Appreciate you tapping in as well. If anybody got any thoughts on Orlando Magic, man, I know it's not the sexiest topic that we're going to talk about throughout the season, but if anybody got any thoughts on Orlando Magic, let me know. And if not, we're going to keep it moving over to the Portland Trailblazers in the Western Conference and just jump right into them. Let's do that. So Portland, not expected to do well this year at all. To reach the playoffs, plus 1,100. To win the Northwest Division, plus 15,000. To win the Western Conference, plus 25,000. To win the title, plus 50,000. Probably none of those things are going to happen. So let's talk a little bit about what did happen with this team last season. So last season we saw Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant all averaged 20 points per game or better. Nurkic missed a lot of time because he was injured due to an injury. Really hurt their defense a lot. This team struggled defensively. They finished 28th in defensive rating and will likely not be a great defensive team this year either, with Aiden kind of anchoring his defense. I'm not a big Aiden defensive guy when it comes to Aiden guy when it comes to his defense. Will he, play with a chip on his shoulder? Probably so, but I don't know if that means he's going to be able to stop anybody. I think playing in the Monty Williams in Phoenix, there was a defensive minded group, and you also had Mikal Bridges before Kevin Durant came over. This team, not so much. Not only did they finish 28th defensively last year, but they finished 27th defensively the year before. Don't think you're going to see a lot of good defense from this team. So you bring in Aiden, of course. You also trade for Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams as well, and you draft Chris Murray, and you also draft Scoot. Scoot's going to be the guy for this team, the ultra green light. They're going to give him the ball, let him kind of do his thing. Of course, he was drafted right after Brandon Miller in the draft, so number 3 overall. Of course, Victor Wembanyama went first. I don't really have a lot on this team. I mean, I can give you guys the breakdown. They did re-sign Jeremy Grant, which I think was part of the reason why Dame wanted to get up out of there, because they gave him the money like he was going to change the franchise. I want to say he got $120 million. So now he's your highest paid player. A team with Jeremy Grant being the highest paid player. No knock to Jeremy Grant. Get your money. But a team with Jeremy Grant being the highest paid player, not a team I'm probably going to put my money on. You also bring back Matisse Thybulle. We know he struggled last year with he shot a little bit better, but he still continues to struggle with his shot. Defensive guy, though, that they'll definitely need. And last season, even with Dame, they won 33 games and 33 and 48. Of course, they kind of shut Dame down. This team finished 13th in the Western Conference. Their projected win total for this season is 28.5. If I had to play it, I think I'd play the under. I think they'll win games here and there, but close to 30, nah, I don't think so. Like I said, Jeremy Grant being your highest paid player, I think they're going to struggle defensively. I think there's potential that Brogdon could get traded. They're going to use all of these guys for trade bait, honestly. Robert Williams might not finish on this team, especially when you got him and Aiden together as well. Aiden might not even finish on this team. But I don't like. I can see Brogdon getting traded. They'll use the draft compensation that they got for in the trades with Damian Lillard and Drew Holiday, in my estimation, to just to rebuild. It'll be a complete rebuild. You just want Anthony Simons to continue to develop. You want Shaedon Sharpe, who at times last year seemed like he was missing, but then at other times, kind of stepped up. You want him to be a little more consistent as well. And of course, you want Jeremy Grant the ball, especially if you gave him all that money. This team also has the 6th most difficult schedule. So a lot of back-to-backs, a lot of travel situations. Scoot may end up hitting that rookie wall. That's just something that you can't necessarily prep and plan for. And that's really going to hurt this team. So if I'm playing, I do think that, Portland struggles because you look at the two. So Portland finished 13th, like I said, in the Western Conference last year. The Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs were the only 2 teams to finish worse than the Portland Trailblazers. Both of those teams won 22 games and lost 60. I think we see a flip. I think Houston wins more games this year because, they bring in Ime Udoka and they also bring in, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks. So you get some veteran leadership there. But also, I think San Antonio wins more than 22 games. Of course, it's still going to be a rebuild year for them, but I think that they go over the 22-win game. Somebody in this conference is going to have to lose more games than they lost last year, and I think it's going to be the Portland Trailblazers as they start the rebuild for some of these young players. So those are my thoughts, man. Will we be able to, find some value and extract value at times? Absolutely, but I'm not high on this Portland Trailblazers team. Kept that one real short for you guys. My guy Derek in the chat. If you got comments on the Portland Trailblazers, send me a request, man. I'm gonna get up as many people that want to talk about these 2 teams specifically, and then I got just a quick. Matter of fact, I'll say this right now. So I'm doing 2 teams a day. We got 4 teams left, so that means a preview tomorrow, and then a preview on Monday. The season actually starts on Tuesday. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do all 4. The other 4 teams actually don't. We could say that they don't even deserve 2 teams a day. We could probably break these teams down really, really quickly. We're talking about, and not no disrespect to these teams, but because I'm always excited to look at all the teams. But the Charlotte Hornets, Detroit Pistons, San Antonio Spurs, and the Houston Rockets. We're gonna break all 4 of them down tomorrow. We just gonna go ahead and get them all out the way tomorrow, so we can have a fresh slate come next week. But we're not breaking down any previews. I'm also going. If I find time this weekend, I'm going to break them down and put them in podcast form so you guys can go back and listen to them as well. and hopefully leave me a good review over there on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast at. But if I end up doing that, I'll post it on my page on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, but you're watching on YouTube, definitely check me out on Twitter at Crispy Captain 2Ps 2Ns. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that part right there. My guy Derek in the chat. What up, Derek? He says, "What's up, my guy? Lots of young talent in Orlando. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. What kind of probably to say I'm excited to see what kind of season they put together. Yeah, I think we're gonna be able to catch them. Like I said, 16-8-1 against the spread as a home dog last year. That's the spot you really want to take them in. So they're gonna have some of those spots, and I'm probably gonna go through, look at their schedule, make sure they're in a favorable rest situation, and probably hop on them in a couple of those spots added to my notes and my calendar, and share that information out as well. And Scotty says, can't wait for Tuesday. I think we all kind of itching, man. All kind of scratching just a tad bit, waiting for Tuesday. I did a prop show with my guy Munov earlier today. So definitely go check that out. I talked about season-long props as far as points per game, as far as rebounds per game, assists per game, and players to lead those specific categories as well. So, player to lead the league in points per game, assists per game, rebounds per game. Not gonna make a whole nother show out of that just because for time purposes. I got a lot of other stuff that I'm working on right now, but definitely check that out if you haven't already. I think we got some really good value based on the lines that are available right now. So yeah, anybody else got any thoughts on either of these teams? I'm sorry, not Toronto. The Orlando Magic and the Portland Trailblazers. I see my guy Stephen sent me a request over on Twitter, so I'm gonna get him up and let him share his thoughts. Stephen, can you hear me, my guy?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. I love your breakdown on the Blazers. Actually, two questions for you. Do you think that Portland is more of like a team that you think they're going to try and build? Because I kind of feel like a couple of these teams like this value and taking their under on their wings, because I think they're going to like see the season goes along, and by like game 50, they're going to be like basically like, oh man, we could like get at the top of the lottery. Well, this Blazers team, they have like all these little pieces, like Brogdon, Robert Williams. They can flip the teams trying to compete. So, what do you think about their unders? My first question.
Yep. If I had to play it, that's what I was saying, Steph. If I had to play it, I can only look towards the under. I think what I had written in my notes is I'd only play the under because, like, kind of like what you said, and I mentioned it too. Like Brogdon is trade bait. Robert Williams is also trade bait. Teams are going to be calling and requesting for services like that, right? Like when you think about what especially the more dominant teams that are talented that don't have that size available, right? Like I actually think Boston might try to get Robert Williams to come back because they might need him. They might end up needing him against the Philadelphia 76ers. Granted, Al Horford's really been done really, really well slowing down Joel Embiid in the past, but when you think about some of these big dominant guys, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jokic, Embiid, like you need a player like Robert Williams. And you think about what Brogdon does on the defensive end against, guards, because Brogdon's a pretty big, point guard himself. I think that they're gonna be getting called all the time, Stephen. I would only take the under. And I know the number's low at 28.5, but I mean, even with Dame last year, they only won 5 more games than this. So, it's a lot. It's going to be a lot of cohesion that has to happen for this team because you are, like getting a lot of players. This roster has so much turnover. And I love Chauncey Billups as a player, even though he beat my Lakers back in 03, 02. To win the championship for the Pistons, but I love him as a player. I love him as a person, but he's not my favorite coach either. Like he can't get his guys to play any defense, and I think that they're going to continue to struggle in that department as well. Stephen, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Not perfectly broken down. I think Scoot's going to be amazing, but I just don't know if this is time right now. Just taking a zoom out, what you mentioned about the division and like how the division is basically. Like Denver's going to win that division. What are your thoughts? Because like they have this little 30% boost off on FanDuel. I was thinking about just doing like Denver, the Bucks, and the Celtics all to win the division. And if you boost it, you get to plus 165. What are your thoughts on that one?
Denver, the Bucks, and who was the other team?
The Celtics.
Denver, the Bucks, and the Celtics. I don't think I could talk you off of that. I think Boston definitely could potentially run away with that division. Barring some kind of injury. I mean, for people who don't, know who's in that division, I don't think the Brooklyn Nets are going to give them, too much trouble. Toronto Raptors, I'm not high on. Philly is a ticking time bomb, kind of waiting to, explode. And not that they won't be good, but losing James Harden, I don't think is going to help. And then you got your Knicks in that division as well, Stephen. I don't know if you guys are ready to win the division. Granted, y'all did make a lot of progress last year. Then when you think about the Northwest, when you got the Denver Nuggets, their biggest competition is probably going to be Oklahoma City and, of course, Minnesota. But I'm not sure if either one of those teams will be able to win more games than Denver, just because Denver has that one of the best home court advantages in the league, and we know what they did last year in that situation. And then the last team you said was the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, the Bucks. The Bucks' only competition in the Central will be the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I am a little high on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know if the Cleveland Cavaliers will want to compete, for the division. I think that is possible, but the Bucks are, barring some kind of injury, I think that they are, I wouldn't say a whole. I would say tier 1, tier 2. I'm high on the Cavaliers though. That's the only one that would give me a little bit pause for concern. What were the odds on that parlay, Stephen?
Yeah, so altogether it's 127, but you can boost it to 165. I agree with everything you said. The Cavs are in this weird position, I feel like, where it's like, do you keep Donovan Mitchell and go for it, knowing the fact that he's not gonna stay there,
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. It's going to be interesting to see what Cleveland looks like, after the All-Star break. Absolutely. I'm interested to see that, because it does feel like Evan Mobley's continued to get better every single year. His brother, Isaiah Mobley, is getting a little bit better and probably going to crack the rotation a tad bit more. Donovan Mitchell will be in his second season. You got a young, still young point guard in Darius Garland, who continues to make strides every single year and improves his game. And you go out and you add the three-point shooting that you really, really needed, which is why your Knicks beat them last year when you add, a guy like Max Strus. Yeah, you got Gorgeous Niang now, and you got Max Strus. So, I think that's the reason why I'm high on Cleveland. And Cleveland, of course, was the best defensive team last year in the NBA. Always going to be there with the good defensive team. So yeah, Stephen, I'm with you there.
Okay, appreciate you. All right, man. Looking forward to the season, man. I don't know if you caught any of that preseason yesterday or reading up on. But man, the Knicks cannot guard the 3-point line.
Hey, Stephen, I won't go let you go without asking you about it. Mike Muscala beat him in the first half by himself. I said, "Oh my God, wow, got 5 for 5 from the 3-point line. We just not guarding it."
Bro, remember last year when we were on?
It was Porzingis. Yep, I thought about you.
As soon as they put them on, I'm praying it's 1.5, man. I'm praying.
Yes, sir. That's absolutely insane, and it doesn't look like Thibodeau changed that defensive scheme up at all. You think about, scoring against the Knicks, you won't really get a chance to do so in the paint because, they got a big guy down there by the name of what's my guy name? Mitchell Robinson. And Julius Randle's a pretty good defender as well. But when you talk about sagging in the paint, oh my God, this team will leave anybody wide open from three. And Mike Muscala, if his line wouldn't even been set at 5 last night, but if we could have even got a plus 2.5, you probably would have got plus 850 last night on that. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Stephen. It's going to be another season where we cash on, opposing big men hitting threes against your Knicks, and I'm glad you pointed that out to us.
Yes, sir, bro. I appreciate you as always.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day, my guy. Black Thor, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Yo, Chris, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Real quick, man, on these two teams, I think so for Portland, I'm gonna say it's the same thing with Portland and Orlando. It's good, but it's bad. It's bad because these teams ain't gonna be winning a lot of games. Well, Orlando's a little different. I'm talking about Portland specifically. The only problem from a team perspective with Portland is that I don't see who the clear-cut number one option is, and a lot of guys kind of gonna have this like, yo, I got this move. Hopefully it works out. Now, from a player perspective, you gotta run back to what's my favorite guy on there, Anthony Simons. A lot of times his line was at 2.5. If it is, hey, ladder it up to 5 because he's gonna be letting loose this year with no Dame, man. DeAndre Ayton is engaged. I don't know how much that means, but he's gonna be playing somewhat hard. So that's not bad. Now moving on to Orlando real quick. I love Orlando. Orlando only has one problem as far as their growth. It's the backcourt. I love the front court players. Franz Wagner, a lot of times last year was rebounds and assists. He used to crush them all last year. And Pablo Banchero, I mean, time and time again, he played so many good teams that he would score against them all, man. I love Orlando. Jonathan Isaac is a little bit of a wild card. He gets hurt a lot, but he does have some potential. But the other guy, Mr. Value, I call him, Wendell Carter Jr., consistently got double-doubles, always was that plus value. Really good thing I like there. And whatever the team total wins for Orlando is, I'm all in on them.
Ooh, okay. Hey, Black Dog, I don't think I disagree with anything you said, honestly. I knew what you – it felt like I could have finished your sentence when you talked about Wendell Carter Jr., because that double-double was always about plus 110, plus 115, plus 125, maybe on a back-to-back game. So I love that. I know I was rapping with who was I rapping with? I was rapping with Dream, and we was talking about – I think we were talking about Cole Anthony. Jalen Suggs, steals plus blocks, probably going to be at 1.5, and he's out there getting 2 steals sometimes in the first half. So that's going to be something else to watch. So I'm glad you mentioned the player props as well.
Yeah, a lot of value with a lot of these guys. I think I saw you post yesterday about the 3-point, the leader in 3-point mates. Now, even though Curry is probably the best one at 150, I don't mind Simon only in a value perspective, right? So if you just look at guys who has a good 3-point shot and who's going to be jacking up 8 to 10 a game, again, it's a long shot, but I wouldn't hate Anthony Simon as a long shot to I don't know if you can find top 5 threes, but he can be close in his 3-pointers made.
Yep, I would agree. Just because he's going to be out there jacking, and now he might be the centerpiece of the offense, right? Scoot's going to play point guard. So, yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it, man. I'm looking forward to the season, man. Let's get it, man.
Absolutely, bro. Appreciate you tapping in and the sound advice as well, man. Definitely things I hope people are writing down so we can just, be ahead. You don't got to get ready when you stay ready. So, season will be here in less than a week now. We got 4 or 5 days at this point. So, definitely appreciate you tapping in, Black Thor, and all in your contribution. Let's kick it to Keith. Keith, what's going on, my guy? Oh, I think you dropped. Let me see if I can get you back up. But yeah, we'll hear from Keith, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Anybody who joined late, definitely hit the like button for me, retweet the show, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, all that good stuff. I did give out one play yesterday in the NBA preseason, which was San Antonio, and it was San Antonio first half. That cashed pretty easily, -2.5. They end up winning the first half by double digits. If I see something that I really, really like tonight, I'll let you guys know. And let's just kick it back to Keith, and I'll talk a little bit more preseason for tonight. What's going on, Keith? How you doing?
Chris, how you doing? I'm doing good, bro.
I'm good, man. How about yourself? What's going on?
Just a question for you and anyone that wants to chip in. What are your thoughts on the Magic to actually win their division? I'm a Heat fan, and I can tell you, I already know Butler's going to miss a big chunk of games. If history repeats itself, Bear too. We kind of had the injury bug for our team for the past couple of years, and I'm hoping that it goes away. But it's just historically for the regular season for the past 3-4 years that hasn't really been the case. I love Atlanta. I love what they got with Quinn Snyder. But I wanted to ask, what are people's thoughts on the Magic to possibly win the division?
So if the Magic win the division, Keith, they gotta beat out the Washington Wizards, which I think we probably think that they're gonna do that. Probably got to beat out Charlotte, which that shouldn't be too hard of an ideal either, especially if we think that both teams going to trend in the positive direction. Orlando won 7 more games than they did last season, but then you got to beat out the Atlanta Hawks, who won 4 more games than they did last year. I'm sorry, 7 more games than they did last year. Atlanta finished 41-41, while Orlando finished 34-48. I don't think Atlanta got worse, but I do think the Magic got better. I don't think that Orlando. I don't know if Orlando's going to be able to overtake the Hawks. And I think that the Heat will win enough games and do enough. Like, we got to remember that the season is still early as well. Well, the season hasn't even started yet, but there's still plenty of time to, for Miami to make that trade and bring someone in. As currently constructed, I know that Eric Spoelstra always pulling rabbits out of a hat and magically getting his team, exceeding expectations a lot farther than the public better would think. But I do think that the Miami Heat are a lackluster team right now. Will they play hard? Absolutely. Will they win games? Absolutely. But at some points, you got to have talent as well. And I don't know if they have enough developed talent on that team. Like I said, never counting them out, but I don't know if they have enough developed team after losing a guy like Gabe Vincent, after losing Max Strus. Victor Oladipo is also gone now. So it was a by committee, kind of team for them. They still got Caleb Martin. So I still think that they will struggle. To me, Keith, and I've heard somebody else reference this before. The Orlando Magic have always kind of felt like the little brother to the Miami Heat. They play kind of close to each other. Orlando's never really been better than Miami. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that they have a legitimate chance to take out the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks and win this division?
A lot of the times when we play, our games come down to the wire.
Mm-hmm.
Let me fact check myself and see what Magic's division record was last year.
7-9.
7-9.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't get riddled with injuries this season, because the reason why I really asked that question is because I'm looking at DraftKings and I like the season-long specials that they actually offer for the Magic. You can get Paolo to either average 23 and his team to win 40 games, or 23 and make the playoffs. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the Bulls won. I think they won under 40 games and they had the play-in spot. So there's a slight possible chance that they could, that the Magic could possibly be in that same scenario, and Paolo averaged 23 a game and possibly make the playoffs. It's kind of why I was raising the question, because if you really wanted to go all in on the Magic, there's a plus 2,000 available for them to win the division and Paolo to average 23. Because I don't think Paolo takes a step back this year. I think he's going to be consistent enough to hit his numbers.
No, I would agree with that. That's a spicy one too, Keith. I didn't even check DraftKings for those team specials, but to average 23, what did I say? He averaged 20 last year. So to increase his points per game by 3 points and for them to make the playoffs, you can get a plus 2,000 versus just taking them to win the Southeast at plus 1,000. That is something that, not to go too crazy on, but if you're betting something preseason, you definitely don't want to be betting the minus 115 unless you feel extremely confident in it. And of course, you're not going to be betting a big unit, a lot of units, big unit size on something like a, plus 2,000. So I think, for them to make the playoffs, I like that one a little bit better than them to have to win the division, Keith. And I do think Paolo continues to ascend. So I will be with you there. I think that plus 2,000 on Paolo to average 23 and to get the team to the playoffs, I think that has a realistic expectation. Their odds to make the playoffs, the best odds that I saw was actually a plus 190. So it's not like, it's plus 400. I think they could absolutely get there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up getting with it. See how I feel right before the season starts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go through this real quick. So the Bucks, the Celtics, the 76ers, the Cavaliers, the Knicks, and the Brooklyn Nets, the teams that finished top 6 in the Eastern Conference last year. I think all of those teams make the playoffs again. I'm not 100% sure. The Brooklyn Nets are the wild card in that situation. So let's just say we take Brooklyn out. I'm not saying that they're not going to make the playoffs, but let's say they take them out. We take that team out. So now we got 5 teams that's already in. Atlanta Hawks should be definitely good enough to make the playoffs. Miami Heat will be in it as well. So we're up to 7. And then we got 3 other teams that's going to at least make the play-in tournament. And those 3 teams are going to be decided between the Brooklyn Nets, the Chicago Bulls, who I'm not really high on this year, and we'll see if they kind of stay together. Also in the reigns are the Indiana Pacers, which I am high on. The Washington Wizards, I don't think that they get there. So, yeah, Orlando Magic are right there in contention. I talked about Toronto, not 100% sure, what Masai Ujiri is going to do with Pascal Siakam and what that rebuild looks like for that team. So, yeah, I think that, realistic expectation is maybe we see Orlando and Indiana in the playoffs and we see Chicago potentially fall out, Toronto potentially fall out. And like I said, Brooklyn's the wild card. So, yeah, I think, plus 2,000, you just need Paolo to average 3 more points, which is realistic given, what I've seen from him in the offseason and how players tend to go from year 1 to year 2 as well. Typically, year 3, year 4 for guys who play big minutes in their first couple years are where you kind of like see a cap like, oh, okay, they probably won't average too many more points. But I was actually looking at Jalen Green, another player who came in, completely raw in Houston, and he averaged 17 points in his first season, second year, he went up to 22. So that jump from 20 to 23 points for Paulo Banchero does seem realistic in my eyes. And I just kind of want to give you guys a scenario based on that. So yeah, those are the thoughts, man. I had no idea this show would go this long, talking about the Orlando Magic and the Portland Trailblazers. But I'm here for it, man. If we can find a way to make some money, then I'll be here all night. That's always the goal. But I appreciate everybody for rocking with me, man. Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna combine all 4 teams that are left, so that Monday's show can, I'll figure out what I'm gonna do with Monday's show. But we'll figure it out. I'm not doing a preview show on Monday though. So tomorrow we'll have the Charlotte Hornets, we'll have the Detroit Pistons out of the Eastern Conference, and then the Western Conference will be the Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs. Definitely turn the notification bell on if you're watching on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter if you guys aren't, because that show will be at a different time tomorrow. I got my evening is a little conflicting, so I won't be doing a show at 3:45. I also won't be doing a show at 5:15. It'll be an earlier show. It'll probably be a show around, might be even be a morning show. It might be like a 10 a.m., 11 a.m. type morning show, but it'll definitely be before 11 a.m. So yeah, it'll be morning for sure, because my evening is kind of booked already. So like I said, turn the notifications on. Hit the like button for me if you guys can. I'll catch everybody tomorrow. Enjoy. We got Thursday night football tonight. I gave out 2 player props. I'll drop one of them real quick now. I'll drop a player prop that I gave out to my group, my YouTube group, and that's what I'll do. So for tonight, it's actually 3 player props that I really, really like. I gave out 2. The one that I like the most is actually moved, and that was actually Alvin Kamara to go under his rushing yards. I got it yesterday at 54.5 over on Bet365. The number's down to like 48.5 on most books now, so it's dropped about 6 yards. Jacksonville defense is super stout, so I won't give you guys that one. The one I will give you guys is not too juiced. It's Derek Carr pass attempts to go over. Because Jacksonville defense is so good against the rush, they're forcing teams to pass the ball. I want to say at the 3rd highest rate. And I know that they're on the road, but I do expect them to continue to play really good defense on a short bye week. I think Derek Carr and that offense is going to struggle to move the ball with Alvin Kamara in the backfield. So I think Derek Carr going to go over that. Jacksonville is forcing teams to pass the ball at an extremely, extremely high rate. These quarterback pass attempts, I don't care if you complete them or not, but the attempts are something that I've done really, really well with so far in the NFL throughout the entirety of the season so far. So they go a free nugget for you guys if anybody want to jump on that. I think the last time I checked, yesterday I played it over 31.5. Derek Carr, his pass attempts over 31.5 at -110, -115. I want to say it's up to like -140 now. It's 32.5 on some books as well, but I do expect St. Louis. I do expect the Saints to struggle running the ball and end up just being a passing game. So I took Derek Carr over his pass attempts for tonight's game, as well as Alvin Kamara to go under his rushing yards as well. Still don't think we got the news on Trevor Lawrence. Totals dropping as well. But I do like Jacksonville if Trevor Lawrence plays, but I'm probably gonna stay off the side. Best of luck to you guys if y'all got action. YouTube member group, that YouTube members that are here right now, I probably will have a NBA play, NBA preseason play, maybe even a couple when we get information about who's going to be available for these games. I was looking at fading the Sacramento Kings because they played last night and in Golden State, and they'll be playing at home tonight against the Utah Jazz. But I just don't know what that Utah Jazz rotation is going to look like. The line was actually 1 this morning. I saw it move all the way up to 4.5, 5 on some books. So people are betting on Utah, and I think that is the right side. I just haven't put that in yet because I want to see who Utah is going to try out there. So those are my thoughts, preliminary thoughts on WNBA. I mean, on the NBA tonight. Shout out to the Aces. Shout out to Asia Wilson for taking my money because I did bet the Liberty yesterday, and the Liberty just burned my money all season. So glad the WNBA is over. And shout out to the Queens out in Vegas because they definitely deserved it last night. Getting the Liberty up out of there at their house as well in New York. So that's what I got for you guys. Like I said, appreciate everybody for tapping in. Best of luck on all your action. If anybody's betting MLB, I'm definitely going to be tuned in for that, but I'm not really capping it or betting it at all. Just, enjoy watching good baseball. Best of luck tonight, man. Catch you guys tomorrow. Like I said, it'll probably be an earlier show, so just look out for the notification. I'll put it in, put it out as soon as I possibly can. I'm out.